So, hi everyone, and welcome to this episode of the Confidence Conversations podcast. I'm really delighted today to welcome Vanda Varga, who describes herself as a tour guide to your mind. So, who knows where this will go with my mind? Particularly this week, it's been a bit of a crazy week, which is all good. But Vanda, tell us who you are, what you do, and where you're from.
Gail, hi everyone. Thank you very much for having me. I'm very excited about today's episode. I'm Vanda and I am a tour guide to your mind. So I help you explore, uncover and remap your map of the world. So the way how you think, how you feel, how you communicate, how you behave, how you experience life all together. So then you can navigate in your thoughts and in your feelings with a bit more clarity, confidence and perhaps a bit of ease.
Yeah, I love that. And Vanda, you're a trained master practitioner, aren't you, of NLP?
Indeed.
Before we
And the
go
trait.
into kind of the whole confidence piece, talk to us a little bit about NLP. And for those that maybe either don't know what it is or have been thinking about doing something with NLP, tell us a little bit about that.
Oh, where do I start and how long do you have? NLP is a huge topic indeed. And it's something absolutely magical and something that I could talk for ages about. Um, NLP is often described as the user guide to the brain. So when you think about it, us individuals, we all perceive the world in many different ways, don't we? We all go through different life experiences, we through events through different lenses or filters, if you like. And we are also all defined in different ways at many different neurological levels, which I'm not going to go into just now. But what that means is that every single experience that we have as human beings are going to be very unique to the individual and it will be differently structured. And NLP is basically the study of that structure of how we see the world, and it's also the study of excellence. So how we can do things the best way possible. But if you ask me, that's the official answer. If you ask me, NLP is pure magic. Because apart from it giving you all these principles and tools and techniques that you can use to better yourself and help others do the same, it also gives you an absolutely wonderful attitude towards life. Is that attitude of curiosity. It's about seeing or living your life the way it best suits you. It's about lifelong learning, getting curious about what else can I learn about the world. It's about knowing that there is no failure, only feedback. We can either succeed or learn or do both at the same time. It's a double win.
Better, even
Isn't,
better. Yeah.
and isn't that magical? So it's not like getting your magic wand, wave it around kind of magic, but the impact of living the life this curious way. Now that for me is magical.
Yeah, and I did back in lockdown because my business wasn't very old. I did my practitioner NLP practitioner training, and of course it was all online. And I know that I probably would have benefited from doing it with somebody like you, but at the time I didn't really know anybody, and I was like, oh, I need to do something. It's lockdown, and there was a couple of things that really stood out for me. There was definitely this piece around curiosity, which I think generally I am quite curious as a coach anyway. But there was also this piece about the map is not the territory, and your map of the world is very different to everybody else's. And there was a few other bits and pieces that stood out. So one around perceptual positions, where you can look down on different things in different ways. And I use a lot of right, I'm just going to put this out there. I use a lot of NLP in my coaching without realizing sometimes that's what I'm doing, but I do it in a different way. And one of the topics that I really want to talk to you today is about reframing, because and you talk there about, there's no failure, there's only success, or you learn. And I really believe in that. And it was something when I started my business, I had to really reframe in my mind that you can't see it as a failure. You have to see it as, right, what have I learned from that? And this reframing comes up in coaching quite a lot. So I'm really looking forward to exploring that in that sense. So tell me, Vanda, then, what does confidence mean to you?
Again, how long have you got? This is such a big and such an important topic, isn't it? And I think for us to see what confidence is, we need to define what it isn't. And many people would think that if somebody is confident, then they are going to become boastful and arrogant and cocky, and they think that everything is great and everything is candies and rainbows. But for me, it's not what that means. For me, confidence means that you know who you are, that you are aligned with your values and with your belief system. Because there are empowering values, which are absolutely brilliant, that drive you forward, and there are limiting ones as well. When you have the confidence to face those limiting beliefs and limiting values, get rid of those so then you can empower your own life. Now, that again is confidence on its own, and it also boosts confidence. It's about having the belief in yourself, in your own skills, that no matter what, you are capable to adopt, you're capable to learn, you're capable to change things around you if you need to. Yeah. So it's not about believing, like positivity, putting a positivity plaster around something and say that everything is going to be happy or candies and rainbows and nothing can go wrong. No, that's not true. We know that life goes wrong sometimes. We know that everybody around us can't be all supportive and our kind of people. We can't control anything that's happening around you. But when you have confidence in yourself, that deep inner confidence, then you know that no matter what happens, no matter what other people say, you will be okay. Because you can learn, you can adopt, you can carry on. You grow, you develop, don't you?
Yeah, it's so true, isn't it? And confidence is such a big word, isn't it? It's such a big, there's so much. If you had an umbrella and the umbrella was confidence, there'd be so much under there.
Yes.
But this whole feeling around you having this deep sense of trust in yourself,
That's
that
right.
whatever happens, it will be okay. And I think there's something as well, and you referred to it there about your values and your beliefs, and I've got a confidence iceberg. You can see it on my website, where your values and your beliefs are right at the very bottom of that iceberg, aren't they? That's wedged, and whilst again you can't really change those, you can adapt and you can be flexible with those, and then you move up into things like your experiences and your environment, all of which then build up into the outward display, which is confidence, which is what we see. And you're quite right. There's there can be some negative connotations, can't there, with confidence, which you
Absolutely.
referred to, which I think is really interesting.
Yeah.
So you could be, I quite often think as well, sometimes you can be a confident introvert.
Mm-hmm.
I don't love the word introvert, but a confident reflector, or because I
I
would say
like
I'm not necessarily an introvert, but I do a lot of internal reflection, probably too much, and that's a whole nother podcast episode.
That's another topic.
Yeah, that's a whole nother thing. But I think that you can still be a confident reflector, introvert, whichever word you prefer, and you don't always have to be this extroverted person to be confident, because it comes from within.
Absolutely. And that within that inner confidence that we are talking about, I think that is the important part. Because going back to what people perceive confident as something bad, something boastful, something arrogant and cocky. Now, what I believe in is that if you don't have that inner confidence, how are you going to inspire confidence? Especially in professions where we are at, or we are in, how will we get people to trust us so then they can trust themselves and trust the process and actually go through that transformation that we are offering? So it's I don't think it's all that black and white binary thinking, isn't it? As human beings within society, we are conditioned to think binary. It's either left or right. It's right or wrong. It's black or white. And this is how I see this. Some people think that, oh, being confident, arrogant and cocky, that's all black, that's all horrible. So I'm not going to be this. I'm going to jump over to the other end and I'm going to shy away from showing people that I actually know what I do and I'm confident in what I'm offering to you. So then we become the little mice, don't we? And this is the problem when we jump from one to the other and we stop. We don't stop to see that, okay, there is black, there is white, but how many shades of grey are between black and white? And how many colors? Why would we need to be here? Or why would we need to be there? We need that quiet confidence that's somewhere in between here, where we can be firm in our knowledge, in our experiences, in our offering. We can be confident in that, using that word again.
Yeah.
We don't have to be arrogant and cocky, but we also don't have to shy away from things. And this is that little golden path. This is where we want to be. So we can inspire that confidence, don't we?
Yeah, and that's fascinating, isn't it? What you just said there, you got me thinking about, this kind of one thing or the other. It's either black or it's white, it's good or it's bad, it's a good decision, it's a bad decision. We've got to make the right decision, it's right or wrong. And you're right, we've almost been conditioned to sort of say there's no middle ground here. It's not okay to be in the middle ground because who wants to be there? But actually, if you do think about confidence, it is a bit of a continuum, isn't it, or a roller coaster, however you want to look at it. That in some, and it's situational as well. So in some situations, you're going to feel really confident at one end, which you could describe as the good, if you like. And at the other end, it feels really bad when you've had a confidence knock. I don't know, maybe you've had some bad feedback or something hasn't quite gone as you had hoped it would when you've set out to do something. But I do wonder whether generally with confidence, when it's stable, a client of mine once described it as like a diving belt. And, you have those blocks on a diving belt where you can go up or down in the water. She said that, that the stable thing is the diving belt when it's fully balanced. That's and right. Then when things go wrong, I find I'm either rising or I'm going down. And I think that it is like a continuum of where we are, depending on what's going on for us at the time.
Exactly. And I think we need to recognize that we can't always be the same level of confidence all the time, especially because not the same level of confidence is required to different situations or different tasks.
Yeah.
It's just about acknowledging your wins, acknowledging your achievements, acknowledging those personality traits that you already have, and have that baseline of confidence. So when our mind plays tricks on us, because it does, we have something to come back to, something to look back on, maybe a list of things, of your amazing values, or everything that you've achieved, all the things, the positive things that people say about you, something black and white evidence, if you like, that you can come back to and have a look at and say that, yes, my mind is playing tricks on me. It's asking me whether I am good enough, whether I am doing enough, whether I am on the right path. Here is the evidence that I am. So then you can bring your own confidence back a little bit. And it's not even a question of if your confidence ever drops. Yes, it will. Let's be honest. Mine does. I don't know about yours, but I'm pretty sure yours does too.
I mean, yeah.
Yeah, and it's just seeing that this is absolutely normal. This is who we are as human beings. And of course, our confidence will drop before or during big things, like when we start learning something new, when you go and you start studying something new, you start a new job, you become a parent, I don't know, all sort of different things. Of course, your confidence will drop. You will feel those imposter thoughts and feelings, won't you? You will feel that I don't really know what I'm doing. But when we acknowledge that that kind of confusion is part of the learning process, we can welcome it. And being confused can actually boost our confidence and know that that's amazing. I'm confused. That means that a breakthrough is coming. Yeah. I'm doing something different. Everything has been thrown up in the air and now things are falling back into different places. And some things will fall into the bin, thank goodness, and other things will appear. And that can give you the confidence that, yes, I'm growing, I'm evolving, I'm changing. And that is amazing, isn't it?
Totally amazing. And in that space where things are falling and things feel really uncomfortable, that for me is where your curiosity pays off, right? Because then you're curious about, what am I thinking about that? Why am I thinking about that? What is that trying to tell me? Rather than you going, oh, I'm not sure about this. This isn't going to work for me. If you're more curious about what you're thinking, that's then more helpful in that process, I think, of when things start to feel new. I think, I mean, we could literally be here forever. I say this to all my guests, but we literally could, because there's a couple of things there that you said that I wanted to come back to. The first one was around your mind playing tricks on you, right? And this is fascinating, isn't it? Because for me, this would be what the inner critic does, right? So the inner critic, and there is another podcast specifically about inner critic, but definitely I've had some of that this week, something that's happened which we don't need to go into, but like you said, we all have confidence knocks. It's taken a knock, but I have had to go back to that. What is the black and white stuff here? What is the evidence? just to quieten down the noise, the inner critic noise. Betty, my inner critic's called, and just to quieten her down and say, it's all right, Betty, you know, I hear you. I know you're only trying to protect me. Yeah, because that's the role that you've been given. But I'm okay. I'm just going to go back to this bit over here. And again, there's that spectrum or that continuum, if you like, of confidence. So I was riding high at one point and then suddenly I'm right back here. And even this morning I've gone to, I've taken it to supervision, coaching supervision, because I just wanted an independent view on it. And I've come away from that going, right, yeah, I'm much clearer about all of that now. So again, the people around you can help with those kind of things, can't they, as well? Yeah.
Oh, they absolutely can. They can. And sometimes we do actually need to get it out of our head, put it on the table so then we can see it from different perspectives. Because if you don't, you literally just go around in that hamster wheel of negative thinking sometimes. And then you just keep bringing yourself down in that spiral, and then your confidence disappears. So putting it out on the table, having that supervision or having conversations like we could, you know, as coaches, and just talk about what is happening for you, so then you can have those different perspectives, because wisdom comes from those different perspectives, doesn't it?
Yes, and that is why I love the kind of things that we do in coaching and training and that, because there's not anything I come away from where I've not learned something new, or I'm not taking something from that session into another session, or a conversation I've had where I go, oh, I was talking to somebody the other day and we talked about this, and it sparks another thought or another conversation. And I mean that's where we do a lot of our learning, isn't it? Anyway,
Oh God, yes.
from that side of things, definitely.
You know, I even say that while I'm the NLP trainer and I teach my certified NLP practitioner courses, this is actually my learning ground. Every time I do a course, I learn so much, not just about the topic itself, with every single question that all those people ask. And, you know, different participants, different questions. So I learn about the topic. I get those cogwheels going in a different way, which I love. And I also learn about myself. And that's training, that's one-to-one work, that's, I don't know, company workshops that we do, isn't it? And it's just every single time I feel that I'm learning something new. And I also say that, I say very often actually, that the day when I feel that I haven't learned anything, I want that to be my last day on this earth. Because after that, it's all boring.
Yeah, because what's the point? What is the point if you... Yeah, look, every day's a learning day, and it's a really cheesy saying. Every day's a school day, isn't it? But if it wasn't, it'd be boring, wouldn't it? And why would we? Yeah, why would we choose to not want to learn, or not want to interact, or not want to be challenged about our thoughts or our opinions? And when I say challenge, I maybe mean stretched, you know, if the word challenge doesn't sit right with somebody. But yeah, I don't know. I mean, even this morning, you know, back to the supervision thing, my supervisor is very different to me, which I love, because he has a very different way of challenging me. But does it in the right way. But I often walk away thinking, oh, okay, right. Yeah, okay. And I always make sure I leave some time either side of supervision as well, so I can go off and I can process it and really think about where have I been challenged. Yeah, and if it feels uncomfortable, back to that again as well. Why did that feel really uncomfortable? Back to that
curious about
piece.
it. Exactly. You need to get curious about those feelings, because they are telling you something about yourself. This is nothing more but a learning opportunity again about yourself.
Yeah.
You know, could I just go back to that thing that we said, you know, being curious about the world and lifelong learning, and so much is out there for us to learn. Because I think it's really important for us to acknowledge that huge ocean of different things that we could learn can be something very exciting, and we can get really, really curious about and learn as much as we can. But it can also become daunting, and it can also knock our confidence back. You know, when we start comparing ourselves to everything we haven't learned yet. And that's an ocean, that's bigger than an ocean. And we will only learn little drops of it in our lifetime, because there is just so much to learn. And this is when I say that if you want to have a healthy amount of confidence, you want to have a solid foundation of confidence, it's not enough to keep looking at what is out there that I haven't learned yet. But what we as human beings are not very good at, or conditioned not to be very good at, is turning back looking back at what we've already learned. What are those little drops that are in our little puddle, which is actually a lake or a sea even? And once you turn back and you start looking at all the things that you've already accomplished, already developed, already learned and gained, then that is going to give you that solid foundation that you want to leave your castle, build your castle on. Because if you just keep looking that way, then what you're doing is trying to build a castle on quicksand with water running underneath it. Now, is it ever going to stand?
It's like being on the beach as a child, digging a sandcastle and the water is coming in. There's 2 points in that for me, actually, that I resonated with me. One was about, and I can be guilty of this in some cases because I love so much learning. You do a lot of collecting, don't you?
That's right.
And I hear a lot of times my clients will say, when I've got this, I'll be able to do this. And when I've got this, and it's almost like the carrot and the stick. And actually you never quite get to the carrot because it's just out of reach because it moves every time.
You're taking that carrot further and further away. How on earth could you reach it?
Yes, exactly. And there's something for me about, there comes a point where you have to stop collecting and you have to go off and take action. And then there's also the point that you said about turning back and looking back at what is in your drop, in your lake, or, you know, your part of the ocean. And for me, that links directly to the comfort zone, because I think we're told, step out of your comfort zone because that's where the magic happens. And I agree with that, but I also think we need to go back to our comfort zone to process what we've learned and to understand it and to put it into practice so we can go out and stretch again.
Exactly, and this is it, isn't it? It's about practice.
Yeah.
But if we just keep jumping out of our comfort zone and keep going and trying to widen it way too quickly, that's not going to help us. That's just going to knock your confidence back. Yeah. But if you here is your comfort zone and you stretch it just a little bit, you look around, take a big look around everywhere, and then you say that, okay, that's very good. I'm going to step back a little bit, keep practicing that. Then your comfort zone grows. And then you can take the next step the same way. You stretch it a little bit, and then you take a big look around there and start practicing that. And that's all about our brain's neuroplasticity, isn't it? Your brain's ability to rewire itself.
Exactly.
So how it works is that all the things that we practice will have very thick neural pathways in our brain, won't there? Mm-hmm. Now, in order for us to build those, we need to start carving it out first. But if you just walk on that path once, and then you walk on another one, and then you walk on another one, and you walk on another, that one will never deepen, that will never strengthen, that will never be carved out properly so you can keep traveling on it. Yeah. So we need to keep doing that. We need to keep practicing and build those new neural pathways, literally rewiring our brain. And this is how your comfort zone grows, doesn't it?
Yeah, because confidence is a practice, like everything. Courage is a practice, right? Confidence is a practice. Anything we want to be good at, we have to practice.
Exactly. Sorry.
No, go on.
I'm just thinking, because this quote from Russ Harris popped into my head. I'm going to paraphrase because I don't remember exactly. But he said that the feelings of confidence come after the actions of confidence. Yes. So we can't just expect that we'll wake up one morning and then our comfort zone will be that big.
No.
We need to take those actions to grow it. So we feel more and more confident in a bigger zone. Yeah. And then we feel confident to step out into the learning zone.
Exactly. Yeah. And that's why I think in some cases, I mean, Brené Brown talks a lot, doesn't she, about courage and comfort, and she doesn't really talk about confidence, but to paraphrase her a little bit or to adapt what she said is, I don't think you can actually get to confidence without courage. Because you're right, you're not going to wake up and go, right, I feel confident to go off and do this thing. If it's brand new and you've not done it before, you're going to have those, like you said, imposter kind of feelings, aren't you? About, oh, can I do this? Am I good enough? All of those things that go on when you're going off to do something new. And I think that courage almost comes before the confidence piece.
That's right.
And then you're right, you do it. Yeah, you feel confident. So you feel more confident to go off and do it again, even if that's with a few tweaks.
Exactly. I think we have this saying in Hungarian. I'm going to share it with you because it makes everybody laugh every time I share it. So we say that you can't just sit on your sofa and wait for the grilled pigeon to fly into your mouth.
It's so true. The visual image that brings along with that.
That's
But
amazing,
it's
isn't
so
it? But no,
it's
you
so
need to get up
true.
on it. That's right. You need to get up on
Yeah.
the sofa. You need to go out there. You need to catch that pitch and you need to grill it. You need to serve it and then you get to eat it, don't you? You
Yeah,
need to do the
exactly.
action for you to
Yes.
feel good about it.
Yeah. Right, we could go on forever with confidence, but I'm really interested to know if if somebody came to you and said, "How can NLP help me with my confidence?" What would you say?
Oh, you just said that you don't want to be here all day long. There are so many different tools and techniques within NLP that can help you. Um, it's I was just listening to another podcast actually before we came on it, from Mike Mandel and Chris Thompson. That's it, from the Mike Mandel Hypnosis Academy, and they were talking about confidence and how NLP can help with that. And it's not just about using NLP for yourself. It's not just about doing those techniques, because those are absolutely amazing to help you with getting rid of the negative things in your life that are not driving you forward and building more of the positive. You know, you can build your confidence by doing a lot of getting rid of or doing a little overloading with the positive. So these are all absolutely amazing things. But when you take a step back, it all comes down to you, doesn't it? It all comes down to the self-talk that you're having with yourself. It all comes down to your physiology.
Yeah.
So it's about the psychology of confidence and excellence, as well as the physiology of confidence and excellence. We need to match the two, don't we? So if
Yeah.
you keep talking negatively about yourself, if you don't catch yourself saying that, oh, I keep putting myself down, is that negative Betty you're talking about? I've got Pippi Longstocking. There you go.
Yeah.
She then tends to talk down at me, but it depends on what socks she's wearing, literally, in my mind. But yeah, because my positive one is Pippi Longstocking as well. But sometimes those
Yes.
stripes on the socks change and then they become rainbow colors. But it's about bringing the two parts of your brain, that positive self-talk and the negative self-talk, together. So then understanding what the negatively labeled one is trying to give you. As you said, Betty's there to
Yeah.
protect you. So
Yeah.
it's all coming down to there. It's about putting our critical thinking hat on and seeing things for what they are, as opposed to how they make you feel. How is Betty or Pippi making you feel? Oh, not great about myself, and it knocks my confidence back. Okay, but let's just listen to what they are saying. They want to protect us. They want us to do well. They want us to excel at what we do. So let's choose another way of doing it. So a lot about confidence is to feel confident to say no, for me, but not just to say no, not just to have boundaries with others, but also to say no to yourself. While it's really, really important to listen to yourself, I also believe that it's extremely important to know when to talk back to yourself and say that, no, I understand what you want and thank you. I'm grateful. Thank you for coming. Now I'm going to go and fulfill that bucket in a different way. So NLP can absolutely help you with that. Explore that self-talk, your inner chatter, if you like, and turn it into something that will be encouraging, empowering, and your greatest ally. Yeah, your best friend.
Yeah. And I think there's something in there for me about the reframing piece, and
That's right.
something about the choice that you have to reframe that, isn't there? Like you
Exactly.
said, when you hear that nagging of Betty, to reframe that, to say, and I heard you say it then, to kind of say, well, what I know what Betty's trying to do, she's trying to protect me, but actually I've now got a choice to say, you can be good, Betty, over here, and go, come on, girl, you've really got this, you can do this.
That's right.
And
It's
for me, that it's as simple as that, I think, in some cases, isn't it? But it's recognizing, you're
yeah.
absolutely right, when you're doing that and you're in that spiral of going, right, how do I get out of that now?
It's exactly that, isn't it? And for that, we have this theory in NLP called the cause and effect. So when it comes to defining your life and your destiny, effectively, you can be at two different places. You can either be at the effect of everything that's happening to you, or you can
Yes.
be at the cause, you, of
Yeah.
everything that's happening to you. Yeah. Things are happening, good things, bad things. Not everything is great. Not everybody is great. But an awful lot of people spend an awful amount of time perceiving that they are at the effect of everything and anything that's happening to them, as well as what's happening in their head. Yeah. And this is when we blame others and external factors, and we find excuses and reasons why we cannot succeed. This is where we ask the question, oh, why? Why is it me? Why is it happening to me?
Yeah.
And then there is the flip side of that. When we come back to cause and we say that, you know what? I can't control everything, but I can absolutely control my responses to it.
Yes.
So I'm not going to react, but I am going to respond. I'm going to take responsibility for my thoughts, my actions, my feelings, see them for what they are. I know that I can't fail. I can only learn or succeed or do both at the same time. I'm going to start asking questions like, what can I do to make it work? How can I make a difference? Where do I have influence? And all the rest. And we say in NLP that being at cause is your place of personal empowerment. And that's what we want for that confidence, don't we? We want to catch ourselves, as you said, and bring ourselves back to cause. And that's what NLP allows you to do. Now, we can't be there 24/7. But if you can, please come and teach me, because I don't know how.
I'm here for
You
that.
know, even we don't, even though we have all the tools in the world in our tool bag. But no, we can't. But it's not about not being at the effect at all. The aim isn't that. The aim is to spend as much time at cause as we can and as little as we possibly can here. But being here is important too. Sometimes we need to feel sad. We need to feel angry. We need to feel whatever. But then when it was enough, thank you, Betty. Thank you, Pippi. That was enough now. I had my pity party. I'm coming back here because I know this is where I flourish and where I grow.
Yeah, and I think this idea of being at cause, one of my favorite coaching questions is, so what's in your control right here, right now?
Love it.
Because obviously that brings you back, doesn't it, from effect into cause, because it's, and one of my other favorite quotes is Viktor Frankl's, between the stimulus and the response is space, because we tend to react to the stimulus, don't we, which might be the effect actually, rather
exactly
than bringing us back to the cause,
so we can respond.
And you talked there, Vanda, as well about questions that you can ask yourself. If somebody wanted to practice this kind of, I'm going to call it reframing. I know that's probably not a technical term, but that does feel like, let's reframe this fact that we're at effect and we're where is us kind of thing. But where we want to be is this space of cause, this, as you called it, personal empowerment space. How can somebody do that for themselves if they wanted to, or there was a starting point for them?
I think the first point is to recognize what is happening. Recognize that I am at the effect of everything that's happening to me, and just say that, yeah, it's okay. I'm going to decide how long I'm going to spend there. And when you had enough, you can ask yourself questions like, is what I'm thinking or feeling actually true? How else could I choose to see that? What other perspectives are out there? And this is where reframing comes from, doesn't it? Going back to wisdom lies in multiple perspectives. And that's what reframing allows you to do. So when you just, I'm going to give you an example. This is an example I use all the time. When people say that, I had to buy a smaller car. Well, when you look at it, that's absolutely horrendous for whatever reason. I don't know. I love small cars. But, for some people, that would be a step back or status symbol gun or whatever that will be. But when you allow it, when you put it out on the table again and allow to walk around it and look at it from different perspectives, reframing, then you can see that, okay, what is the positive in this situation? Well, it will be so much more economical. It's going to cost me so much less. I'm going to be able to park in the city, which doesn't happen very often for many people. Yeah. So there are so many positives in the same exact situation. So all you do is you keep the picture, you change the frame around it. The situation hasn't changed, but the way how you see it has. You can do it two ways. You can either change the picture, keep the picture, change the frame, or keep the frame and change the picture, whatever is appropriate.
Your question there about how else can I choose to see that? That's really like that. I really love that question. A little bit like what's in your control, but how else can I choose to see that? Suddenly you're starting to think, oh, okay, maybe I'm only seeing that in one way, but actually there are 3 or 4 different ways I could see this. And how would someone else see it? So, if I put myself in someone else's shoes, how might they see this situation?
I absolutely love that because, it can be very difficult, especially when you just start with the whole mind thing and taking responsibility and reframing. It can be difficult because we can only think with our own head. So
Yes.
practicing to think with other people's head is, again, practice. Is something
Yeah.
new, something we need to learn. And this is when I try to use or tend to use this little trick, is to ask people to think about somebody else and borrow just borrow for now, the way of how they would see the situation. How would your best friend see it? Or what would you say to your best friend?
Yeah.
How would, I don't know if it's a business challenge or whatever, how would a company that you really admire, you look up to, and you feel they are really successful, how would they look at this? How would they answer these challenges, these questions? How would they resolve the issue? What would my coach say? What would my tour guide to you, my mind say? All these sort of things. So you can borrow other people's perspectives. And this is going back to perceptual positions that you mentioned at the
Yeah.
beginning, is going into other people's shoes, sitting on their chair and seeing the situation from a different perspective. Because it's all coming from your inner wisdom anyways. Those
Yeah.
people are not there. And this is what we fail to see, is that when we recall what other people would say, it's not theirs anymore. It's yours. It's already coming from within. So that's just strengthening your belief in yourself. Even if you borrow somebody else's point of view.
Yeah. Because often we hear ourselves say, don't we? Oh, I wish I could be more like this person because they would respond very differently
And
to
be.
this. Yeah, you can totally see how that works. So then there's okay, so borrow their thinking just for a second,
That's
borrow
right.
their shoes for a second, stand in them. What does it look like? What does it feel
Exactly.
like? What is it telling you? What would Betty be saying to that person? And this whole thing about, what would you say to your friends? I mean, I think we all know that the things we say to ourselves we would never say out loud to other people, would
Never.
we?
That's right.
No, it's
And
crazy.
NLP is actually based on modeling. So what you are saying
Yes.
there is modeling other people's excellence. How would they see things? How would they solve things? How would they do things? So that's the whole thing. It's about that borrowing somebody, pretending that you are already that person, that you already think that way. I'm not talking about fake it till you make it, because I do
Oh
not
God,
believe
no.
in that.
Neither
It's
do
not
I.
about faking it. It's about pretending that you are already there. And then you keep pretending and you keep pretending and you keep pretending until you stop pretending that you are pretending, because it becomes your reality. Because those neural pathways, mental rehearsal, those neural pathways has already been established. Yeah.
Yes.
So you can change your brain, the structure of your brain, by pretending or borrowing somebody else's excellence, if you like.
And I quite often think about the whole fake it till you make it, which I detest as well. It's not sustainable for a start. But also I quite like to think of it as act as if. So if you are going to play a character, so think about
Mm-hmm.
your favorite film star or your favorite, I don't know, soap star or whatever. And that what do? They practice and practice and practice until they become that person. And in some cases, we know the character's name and details. I mean, we think we know them, but we don't know anything about the person that's playing them. But that's because they've practiced. And back to what we talked about earlier is that, sometimes this confidence is kind of contagious. The courage is contagious, isn't it? You have to come across as that to get yourself out there and to do whatever you want to do. We've kind of come full circle a little bit there, haven't we?
That's right.
So, Vanda, if you were to give now 3 NLP top tips for someone who might want to build their confidence, what would you say?
Oh,
Put you on the spot now.
I think we mentioned quite a few, haven't we? So we were
Mm,
talking about celebrating your wins, building
mm,
that solid foundation of confidence. It's all going to go back to your neuroplasticity, your brain's ability to rewire itself. We want to teach you that we are proud of ourselves. We want to teach you that we are confident and we trust our skills.
mm.
So what I often suggest to my clients as well is to write lists of those skills, their capabilities, their values, their beliefs, their personality traits, and everything that people say to them. I even have a box here, a drawer. I'm going to show it to you. There we go. There's all my different thank you cards and different things what people
that.
say about me for the times when my brain plays tricks on me. Because it does, yeah. So having that evidence, I think that's number one. But for that, you need to allow yourself to actually go there. Yeah. You need to allow yourself to see those things for yourself. And just remember, you don't need to plaster it around town. It's not about becoming boastful, arrogant, or cocky again. It's about increasing that inner, that quiet confidence that will then inspire confidence. So absolutely, yes. Acknowledging your wins, keep growing those lists forever. Why not? I also love this NLP technique called anchoring.
Yes.
Yeah, anchoring is a fantastic one. I know you know about it, but just so everybody knows, it's about utilizing our past experiences. It's about getting into our time machine and going back in time to time and place where we felt that we were really confident.
Yeah.
As confident as we possibly can be. Even if we don't believe that that is the most confidence we can be at this time, it's not about that. It's about utilizing it so then we can build on it. So going back in time to that place, and then you can close your eyes, you can keep it open when you are imagining it. It's completely up to you. But when you're there, you want to really see what you see, hear what you hear, and feel what you feel when you are full of confidence. And let it fill up your whole body and your mind. And then we anchor it down into a touch or into a word or into a piece of music, whatever that will be, which then when we come back in our everyday life, whenever we are in a situation where we need a bit of confidence, then we are able to fire up that anchor and take our mind back to that time and place when we felt that confidence. So practicing just that before a meeting, before a podcast recording, before a job interview, taking yourself back to a time and place when you felt that you were at your very best, you were at your excellence. And just seeing what you see, hearing what you hear, feeling what you feel, get yourself into that psychology of excellence that will give you such an advantage at that interview or whatever that will be. But you also need to match it. And that's, I think, the last point. Apart from reframing, because we could talk about that. The last point that I want to say, going back to the physiology of excellence. We can't feel confident when we are down here, can we? We are actually going into our kinesthetic and our self-talk. And we are talking down at ourselves. We are feeling all those bad emotions. We might want to watch Amy Cuddy's TED Talk about the power poses and go back. How can we create that amazing physiology of excellence when you bring your shoulders back, when you open yourself up wide, bigger to the world, take up a bit more space in that world, and most importantly, put a smile on your face. Because whatever we do with our body is a direct instruction to our brain. If I physiologically pretend that I am confident and I'm happy, it will give the signals to my brain that, yes, this is how I'm feeling. It's going to make it happen for you. So why not do it that way? Another important element of that will be your breathing. Yeah, when you're shallow breathing, again, we can't really be confident, can we? But perhaps doing a bit of box breathing before those big events, or just in everyday life when we feel a bit anxious. Doing a bit of box breathing, or any sort of breathing that helps you to fill up your lungs fully and trigger your vagus nerve at the bottom of your lungs as well, sending some calming signals to your brain. That also helps you to get into that physiology and then the psychology of excellence and confidence as well.
They are 3 amazing tips, and they take practice, but they're quite friendly to use, aren't they? And can be used wherever. I do love the anchoring one as well. I'd completely forgotten about I don't think I'd forgotten about anchoring. I've forgotten because I don't often use the terminology, whereas I will quite often think about, where was the time where you felt most confident? What was happening for you? And back to what were you wearing? What was your physiology? Who were you with? All of those things that give you that feeling, I suppose, because I guess confidence is a feeling, right? Somebody said to me the other day that it's hard earned and easy lost. And it's like, isn't that true? Isn't that true? So look, Vanda, thank you. If somebody wants to get in touch with you, we'll put this in the show notes, but do you want to just tell everybody where they can find you? Whether that's your social links or your website?
Absolutely. People can find me on Instagram, LinkedIn, and Facebook at NLP with Vanda. I also have a website, vandavarga.co.uk, and there you can find all sort of information about one-to-one support, NLP practitioner trainings, company training workshops, all the rest. So just come and have a look. And if anybody wanted to have mental fitness tips, I send out my Wonderful Wednesdays, time for your
Great, by the
mental
way.
fitness newsletter. So yes, everybody's very, very welcome to sign up to that. Just feel free to have those free mental fitness tools.
Amazing. Thank you for your time, Vanda. It's been fascinating. And I think I'm going to have to do like guests revisited, where I get guests back on to talk about the stuff that we didn't get time to talk about. But thank you. It's been a pleasure.
Thank you for inviting me.
And thanks everybody for listening to this episode of the Confidence Conversations podcast. And we'll see you next time.